Hello. I bet you've been wondering where I've been. I just have been super busy and I haven't made a video in forever, so I thought I would try to do an actual quick video here for a second and talk about some spooky Halloween books and what I'm reading. And so I'm a little bit disorganized, trying to do this a little bit faster. Also, it's been so long since I've used Zoom to record that apparently I can now clock the billable hours I'm on Zoom. So I guess that's a thing. Anyway, welcome back to Jessica Recommends. Uh, Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Halloween, and I know I've done Halloween videos before and stuff like that, but we have a very specific theme, which is bones, this time around. But first, what am I reading? Reading aloud to the kids, A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. This is fabulous. Usually T. Kingfisher, which is one of the many fabulous names of the wonderful Ursula Vernon. Ursula Vernon is usually her more kids' books, and T. Kingfisher is more adult, but this one is young adult, and I'm reading it to a 13 and a 16-year-old, and we are all super enjoying it. It's a murder mystery. It's a magical murder mystery. It's really pretty great. And also bones. There is an animated horse skeleton going around town. I don't want to spoil anything else by saying any more about it, but I love it. Um, we're most of the way through at this point. Also, T. Kingfisher Nettle and Bone, which I do not have my own copy of to show off, but if you are looking for sort of a little bit spooky, very magical, very fairy tale vibe sort of book, Nettle and Bone, which also as I get older, I just had my 49th birthday. I really appreciate when books have a protagonist who is a middle-aged woman or a woman over 30 at all, because that is super great. So Nettle and Bone has that. Um, I personally am reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Absolutely loving it. And My daughter just read it. My 16-year-old just read it a few weeks ago and was like, oh my gosh, so fun. So yes, we're giving two thumbs up to this one. I just finished listening to the audiobook of Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. Um, and just started The Wedding People by Alison Espach. 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 Starts with an E. Anyway, Espach, and so far so good, but only have listened to the first 20 minutes or so. So that's what I'm listening to. Now let's talk about bones. Um, and I don't have these stacked in order of grabbing, but basically your bones, your skeletons, your spooky vibes for the Halloween season. Let's talk about some books that I recommend. Most of these are more recent that I've read within the last year, and so enjoy. I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. I always say I'm not a big horror fan, but I am a huge fan of Stephen Graham Jones. Absolutely love this. This is sort of YA, but very upper YA and into adult and set in the 80s. And yes, I Was a Teenage Slasher. It's a fun title. The book is honestly kind of sad, quite spooky, very, very cool. Let's say that. Love Stephen Graham Jones. I just finished The Buffalo Hunter Hunter, which is his latest book. Two thumbs way up, but gets real icky. So keep that in mind. The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, which is a book set during World War One. Gorgeous, such ambiance, deals with World War One battlefield things, trauma, ghosts, bodies, but also is just such a lovely story in some ways. So highly, highly recommend The Warm Hands of Ghosts. John Connolly's Night and Day, which is a selection of horror stories, ghost stories by John Connolly, who is a lovely person as well. He also, interestingly enough, talks a great deal about his dad and his relationship with his dad. The end of the book is a monograph that he wrote about a very, very crappy B movie that he saw as a child and then rewatched again as an adult to sort of analyze, does it hold up? What are his feelings about it now? Fascinating. He talks about his childhood, his relationship with his family, and how that sets the stage for the movies and the movie specifically that he likes in this book. And that was a weird way to say that. Anyway, specifically for this movie. But also goes into a deep dive about the movie, which was starring like Christopher Lee, and so fascinating. I found myself wanting to watch this terrible B horror movie, which is I can't even remember the title of it. It sounds terrible, but I might actually watch it. Um, but anyway, but then the rest of it is a handful of very spooky ghost stories. Really loved this. The Witchstone by Henry H. Neff. This is an award winner that I believe it was one of the Alex Awards, which are adult book for adult books that would be of interest to teens. This is sort of also an upper teen. There's some language in it, but it is essentially about a teenage girl and a lesser demon who sort of work together to both save his job, working for, other demons working in hell, and also try and break her family curse. Is really fun. Her 11-year-old brother is along for the ride, and he is hilarious, and I really enjoyed this. The Witchstone. Now a classic Black Unicorn by Tanith Lee. There's also Gold Unicorn and Red Unicorn, but this was the one that started it all with the phrase "bone found a bone." I absolutely loved this book. I loved it as a teenager. I loved it again as an adult. It even has a book plate that someone had given me that says, "This is the property of Jessica Day." But this delightful book is about a girl who's basically a mechanic, but her mother is a famous sorceress. She finds some strange bones in the desert where they live. She assembles them for the sake of science and brings it to life. So great. Love that book. I always wanted a pet peeve. She has a pet peeve. It's sort of like a pet groundhog called a peeve. And he's the one that keeps saying, "Bone, found a bone." He keeps finding bones and bringing them to her. Um, My Imaginary Mary. This is one of the Lady Jane, My Lady Jane, My Blank Mary books by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Super fun look at if Mary Shelley and Ada Lovelace teamed up together to create a real boy. And it is really fun, sort of alternate Frankenstein, very Victorian, very tongue-in-cheek, lots of like movie and music references and stuff, as they always do. If you haven't read one of the Lady Janie's books, treat yourself. First one is My Lady Jane, which there is a TV series on Amazon Prime, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but is more than a little naughty. But love My Lady Jane so much. And then I think this might be my favorite of the Marys that I have read so far. Bones, Doll Bones by Holly Black. This is a Newbery Honor book. It's got everything, creepy dolls, bones, mystery, very Halloween, very spooky. It's about three little kids playing a game, and they basically have this game that they play that their queen of their magical world that they've created is this spooky doll. It's so fun. Scary Stories for Young Foxes by Christian McKay Heidecker. Super fun. And notice how old this is. Does not have the Newbery medal on it, but this is a Newbery honor winner, I think. But these stories, which are fully illustrated about a family of young foxes, are so great. I love them so much. And there's the second one, Scary Stories for Young Foxes in the City, where it's what happens when foxes end up in the big city. Super cool. Just going to quickly put Do Not Disturb on. All right, there we go. Now, I haven't actually read this yet, but Bones. So, Bury Our Bones in Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I just read Darker Shade of Magic. Really loved it. And my sister just bought this book and then handed it over to me if I wanted to read it first because we've heard nothing but great things. And I'm really excited to read this. It said bones in the title, so I had to pick it up and grab it because our theme is bones. Yes, there are fox bones in this. Sorry to tell you. And other animal bones, honestly. But anyway, Bury Our Bones in Midnight Soil, getting lots of great buzz. Super excited to read it. Haven't read it yet, so if you read it and don't like it, you can't blame me. But now to our picture books, which we are doing last this time. No bones, just a ghost. Aggie and the Ghost. This is a new book that I just found. Matthew Forsyth, Words and Pictures. And here is the thing. The expression on the face of this ghost is the greatest thing. Story, charming, but honest to goodness, it's the illustrations. The ghost stealing her socks. You only ever see the ghost having one eye. This little girl moves into a house, Aggie, and there is a ghost in the house. They do not get along. I love the way this ghost is drawn so much. Look at this ghost, look at this owl, look at little Aggie. It's gorgeous and super hilarious, honestly, the story. Room on the Broom, an absolute classic. No bones, don't care. Julia Donaldson, Axel Scheffler picked this up many, many years ago. It was one of those buy for just $5 from Barnes& and Noble with the rest of your purchase. And was my introduction to Julia Donaldson. That's before I'd ever heard of the Gruffalo or anything else. Obsessed with this. It rhymes perfectly. It is super fun. Kids of all ages love it. It's a great read aloud, and I've been obsessed forever with all of her books since this one. And then this year, I found these the other day when I was shopping at the King's English. It's The Witch and the Dragon, and I had to have them, obviously, to go with my copy of Room on the Broom. The witch is perfect. She has her bow, she has her hat, she has her wand. The dragon, amazing. So, if you're like me and you like a little toy that goes with your picture book, Room on the Broom has them. Dropping stuff, don't care. Another new one that I just discovered at the King's English the other day with my sister, Colin's Castle by Holly Swain. This vampire trying to move into his new castle. He is super excited about it. He has a new home. My new home, said Colin. He's got all his boxes all labeled, ready to be unpacked. Please note the duck in the moat. The duck has decided that it's moving into the castle too. It's darling. I love the style of the illustrations. Again, we've got someone who can convey so much with very simple, the expressions on the vampire's face, the expressions on the duck's face. Just like he keeps trying to get rid of it. It keeps reappearing. How? Quack. So funny. I love it to pieces. Now, of course, we've got to have our baby lits. We've got plenty to choose from for Halloween by Jen Adams with art by Allison Oliver. I guess it's technically Jennifer Adams. I just call her Jen. Anyway, Frankenstein, which is an anatomy primer, is so darling, and my kids all loved it. So Sword of Bones, his eyes, his head, his mouth, all his things. My kids absolutely loved Dracula, especially. I got this one. They started coming out when my 13-year-old was just a baby. And I think it was the color scheme because not a lot of baby books, especially, have this type of color and the way the art is. And he would stare and stare at it. He loved this one. This one's a counting book. We've got tombstones that we're counting. We've got rats we're counting. And he would just stare over and over again at this. And then when he started to learn like body parts, he loved the Frankenstein one. And they especially loved the one where his head is on a swing and they were laughing about it. And of course, if you love The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll, here is The Jabberwocky in a candy board book form. There are your mome rats out grading. You've got to love them. So, some fun baby lit books for Halloween. And now we come to the reason why I wanted to do this. It's John the Skeleton. This is by Trinu Lan and illustrated by Maria-Lisa Platz. It was originally published in Estonian. It is translated from the Estonian by Adam Cullen. This is loosely based on the true story of an anatomy class skeleton that ended up having a new life after he was retired from the class because he was missing a few bones. He was getting kind of fragile and stuff. So this older couple living in the hills on their little farm, they end up with John the skeleton. And John becomes a member of their family. This story is darling. It's kind of a hard read aloud because it's quite long. It's almost like an early chapter book. So it's sort of the adventures of the things that he does with this older couple and the places that he goes with them. They like to put him, in a chair on the porch. They dress him in outfits for the different holidays and stuff. And he is essentially alive, but in a subtle and non-creepy way. Like he becomes a member of their family, almost like a pet. And then John went on to have a career even later on in life when an artist wanted to use him in her photographs and actually took him to the city for her art show. And so John was starred in an art show. And it talks about that too. This book is so lovely, heartwarming, and unusual. Really love it. A friend gave it to me last year, and I cannot get enough of John the Skeleton. Absolutely love him. Everyone needs John the Skeleton in their life. And that is why our theme today was bones. But thank you for joining me on this little journey. And please to enjoy books about bones. If you read just one of the books I've recommended, let it be John the Skeleton. Again, the illustrator's last name is Platz, P-L-A-T-S, and the writer's name is Trinu Lan, L-A-A-N. So enjoy, like and subscribe. I'm going to try and do more videos. I'm going to be traveling for the next couple of weeks, but in a couple of weeks when I'm back, it will be after the World Fantasy Award's been announced, and I am planning on doing a couple of videos actually about judging the World Fantasy Award this year, and also some books that were dear to my heart, but maybe didn't. Not every book could be nominated or win. So I was going to talk about the World Fantasy process and highlight some of the books that I read for that I just truly loved. So we'll do that coming up. But for now, happy Halloween.